Hello, everyone. Um, I'll have to click a lot of times to accept each and every one of you manually, so sorry for the delay. But this should be good in a couple of seconds. Okay, still new people coming. Okay, the first batch seems to be okay. So thanks everyone for joining this new 2060 longevity pitch. I see some familiar faces. Thank you guys for coming over and over again. And some new faces also very exciting to see new people interested in longevity. And most importantly, in investing in longevity. Um, this is going to take 1 hour for the people who are attending the first time. There's going to be two startups pitching. Belonging to the whole spectrum of longevity, the most, I would say, health span optimizing startups to the most biotech hardcore ideas and startups. Um, each one of the startup is going to have 10 minutes to pitch and then 10 minutes of question and answers. And at the end of the meeting, everyone is going to have the contact information of the entrepreneurs who have pitched and most likely will get in touch with them and eventually invest in their startups. So I will just start sharing my screen and introduce the 2060 Foundation for a couple of minutes. Partager, okay. So here we go. Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. Okay, great. So thanks for confirming. So the 2060 Pitches is an initiative belonging to the 2060 Foundation, whose purpose is to defeat aging by 2060. And a couple of important things to know about this. So first and foremost, it's a nonprofit. Our purpose is to have a return on life instead of return on investment. And as such, we're trying to help as much as possible the longevity ecosystem. And most importantly, the startups who are bringing in innovative ideas to disrupt aging as we know it. We have more than 200 members, some of them not fully involved, but helping here and there. And we have two flagship projects we're working on right now. One of them is what's happening basically right now, the first step, which is the 2060 Longevity Investment Club. So we are a community of investors investing in longevity startups. And it all starts with those pitches that are happening here. And the selected startups are getting to the next stage. And the second project we're working on is the 2060 Longevity Forum, which is positioned to be at the World Economic Forum of Longevity. It's happening in the south of France on the 30th and 31st of August this year in its first edition. And we bring in this a very beautiful region most of the longevity ecosystem from all over the world, Singapore, Middle East, the United States, Asia, and so on. So for people who are interested, and I believe some of you have already confirmed their presence, take a look at our website, forum.2060.life, and you'll be able to find out more. And again, I'm more than happy to answer any questions if any in the future. A couple of things about our team. So we have a core team of highly committed people coming from different areas of biotech and longevity. You can see here serial entrepreneurs, myself from the tech space, people coming from the AI world, people coming from Genentech, the Buck Institute, National Institute on Aging, and other prestigious institutions related to longevity. So I have put Brian Kennedy apart from the rest of the team because everyone knows him. He's one of the most respected people in the longevity ecosystem, and he's been with us since day one. So huge kudos to Brian for helping us with his network, with his valuable advice. And by the way, he's also coming on the 30th and 31st of August in Aix-en-Provence. So you'll be able to meet him in person should you eventually come. So as I told you, we have two startups. The first one is going to be Unlimited Bio. We have Vladimir Leshko. I'm sorry, there is an S missing here. Sorry, Vladimir. Pitching his startup, Unlimited Bio. And then we're going to have Brent Luyckx. I hope I'm not misspelling your name, Brent, with his startup, Superhlth. So that being said, let's get going. Vladimir, the floor is yours. Please share your screen, and you have 10 minutes to pitch.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel. I sent a request for screen sharing.
Yes, I have just confirmed it. I can see your screen. Great.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for this event, Gabriel, for the invite. So let's get going. I'm presenting Unlimited Bio, and we do fast-tracked combinational therapies for longevity. In other words, against aging. And as you know, aging is, well, like everything in your body goes wrong at the same time. And we don't really know what's the driver behind all this. So the consensus is that literally every tissue, every organ suffers, and potentially we need to make meaningful impacts on a lot of those systems to actually reverse or pause aging. And what the field kind of understands that most likely a single intervention like metformin or rapamycin, which works great in mice, it won't be able to make a meaningful impact on human aging. And that's why we picked a radically different approach from other biotechs. So instead of betting on one pathway, we get all the things we can lay our hands on in the field, be it gene therapies or cell therapies or small molecules and so on. And we built combinations from those therapies. And of course, to make sure that those work, we need to do trials for longevity indications, because imagine you say approach FDA and say, I want to target early stage cognitive decline with a combination of gene therapies. And you'll be told like, no way, it's not ethically appropriate to do this. You can combine omega-3 with broccoli extract or whatever. And that's why we incorporated in special economic zones where their local regulations allow us to do those kind of trials. And we're based in Prospera Zere, so it's a small territory on an island, Roatan, in Honduras. It's already has several regenerative medicine clinics. They've been there for over 10 years, working with the US medical tourists. So we partnered with one of those clinics on the island to perform those trials. And of course, another thing which is a big deal for biotech is the costs of bringing a drug to market. So by doing patient-funded clinical trials, we are able to get off like a major part of the financial burden now of those trials. So as long as we have proven that a certain substance is safe for the humans, the rest we can outsource to patients. So we kind of combine citizen science with crowdfunding with a very radical longevity approach there. And during the first year of operation of our company, 2024, we already brought our first therapy, and it is a gene therapy to market. And we claim that we are able to move way, way faster than classic biotechs, but also we bet a lot on safety because we do make the same quality control for our therapies before administering them to humans. So we do check the safety on animals before proceeding to humans. So all of the same procedures apply. So it's not garage science, and it's also, of course, done within medical facilities. So this year we bring 5 more therapies, AAV therapies, and we already started our first preclinical trial on a combination of those therapies. Few words about our like MVP, so the first therapy that we licensed and got an approval to administer in Prospera. It's called VEGF, and it builds new capillaries locally at the place of injection. It's a plasmid, so it's a very safe substance. And it was developed by a Russian biotech company over 10 years ago, and it has like really impressive clinical history. So it already has 5-year follow-up trials and has all the efficiency, of course, against the disease indication. And we repurpose it for 2 preventive indications. One is for muscle to increase nutrient supply, oxygen delivery, all that to make muscles work more efficiently. And the second one is preventing early stage hair loss because it's tightly connected with the blood supply to your follicles in your scalp. And this year we already licensed 5 more AAV gene therapies. So those are not plasmids, those are delivered by a virus. So they are way more potent and potentially with higher side effects, but also with higher rewards. And as I mentioned, we're already doing this combination trial on mice to see the efficiency on old mice specifically. So we are working with old mice there. So the traction is on the slide. We brought our first therapy to market really cheaply. We already reached revenue with it because we had all the safety data with it. So we could already sell it, and we got our first paying customers. We also partnered with clinics not only in Prospera, but in Mexico, Bahamas, Dubai. For example, we partnered with Dr. Adele Han, who treats celebrities like Tony Robbins and Kim Kardashian. So we expect a surge in sales closer to the end of the year when his promotional campaign will kick in. And we can make money by, first of all, directly selling these therapies after we have shown first safety and then efficiency via patient-funded clinical trials. And of course, we'll be able to get within those zones, we'll be able to get human data on what actually works, not only against aging, but also against certain diseases. And with that data, we can repeat all those trials in classic FDA regulation and hedge against all the risks of preclinical and phase 1 and phase 2 trials failing, because we already will have efficiency data on humans. So we have a great team to achieve this. Our CEO, Ivan, he built several ventures in classic regulations against other aging problems like elastin restoration and partial chemical reprogramming. And Anna, she brought the first Russian commercial COVID vaccine to phase 2 trials from zero in just 2 years, and she also has a lot of experience with gene therapy treatments against disease. We are looking for a 2 million round, and the largest part of it will go into our R&D program. Yeah, thank you. So looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Vladimir. I will ask the first question because usually people are a bit shy to begin with. And then happy to take questions, guys. Please just raise your hand and I will let you speak. So how do you compare your technology with MiniCircle?
Well, we have a somewhat different approach for them. So our first therapy, the plasma therapy, is a similar technology. So yeah, it's can be compared to minicircle. But they only focus on plasmids. And as you know, the plasmids, they don't survive in your cells for that long. So it's kind of like a very safe gene therapy, but we don't expect it to have a major efficiency, or it has to be re-administered a lot of times. So we bet on more potent stuff. And we also don't shy away from other kinds of therapies besides gene therapies. So we want to invest in the plasmapheresis platform and cell therapies. So we think that the best approach right now is combining like all the best stuff we have around us right now, not only plasmid gene therapies like they do.
I understand. Thank you, Vladimir. Sherry, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about where are you at now? So do you have a clinic? Where is this clinic? Do you accept patients? And what's the plan? So you plan to do R&D. So that's not, how do you plan to generate revenue?
So we plan to generate revenue by administering. So we work with clinics. We don't have a clinic ourselves, but we have a clinic that currently has our therapies available. So you can more or less get it tomorrow on Roatan Island. It's called Garm Clinic. It's the same clinic where Brian Johnson got his minicircle therapy. So they do know how to work with gene therapies, and they do know how to work with like VIP patients and so on. So yeah, we outsource the clinics to the clinical part to the partners.
So,
And
just to understand, you're providing therapies and you're selling these therapies to clinics, and you're providing like some sort of kickback. So this is the business model. You don't plan to have it.
What was the second question? The last thing you said.
So the business model is basically based on R&D, and you sell these therapies to clinics, and then they give you a revenue share agreement. Is that the case, or how does it work?
That's the case, but we also get it's done in the open via clinical trials, so we also get all the data from those patients. So we know what works, what doesn't work, what works in combinations, and that data we can later on use to patent to get patents for combinations or for individual therapies, and develop those projects under classic regulations as well. So we have two tracks there in parallel.
Okay. If there aren't any questions, I can ask you another question, if that's okay.
Please.
Okay, so the research part, you mentioned before. Sorry, you added 5 new therapies or 4 new therapies on top of the one you mentioned. This is you got this from a third party.
Yeah, those we mostly license from BioViva. So it's a company led by Liz Parrish, if you heard about her. So they already have a lot of experience in working with AV therapies and with administering patients. But they did some clinical trials on AV therapies, but they mostly do it kind of in the gray somewhere in Mexico. So you can read some articles on the web, like they bring patients to Mexico, and in the end, the field doesn't see the results. So at this stage, we don't, for example, know if follistatin therapy is able to transform you into like a very muscular, athletic person. So we have no idea if it works or not. So we need to still to check that. Although we know it's safe in humans, but there are also a lot of stuff we don't know about gene therapies.
Yeah. So my question was mainly on the model. So you're now getting the therapies from third party.
Yeah, we license them.
R&D. And then how do you generate revenue? Do you sell these therapies? So you get it from a third party, and then you rent them out or you sell them out. So why don't they just skip you and go directly to your source if that's...
Well, we do get exclusive rights for the territories where we sell, but mostly those biotechs, they are aimed at a certain disease, right? So, for example, the Russian company we work with, they don't understand longevity and they're not interested in preventing anything. So they just do trials for diseases. And we say, like, give us exclusive rights in the countries you will never sell anything in. And we'll do experiment with your therapies for other kinds of indications, but we'll get exclusive rights in those territories. And if we see some results of them working in combinations, we can patent it.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me ask another question because no one has raised their hand. What about the risk profile of your treatments? Can you tell us a bit more? And what are the target people who receive those kinds of treatments today, and how many?
Well, right now only a few, so under 10 people received it so far. And regarding the risk profile, so VEGF for plasmids, we are very sure that it's absolutely safe because of all the data we have, and also plasmid generally, if you look around the field of like the plasmids in general, they don't provide any immune reaction and so on. So it's high safety, more or less, potentially not so high reward as well. And AAVs, of course, they're way more risky because you can have an immune response. So you need a certain know-how how to inject them, how to potentially suppress immunity, how to select patients, how to. So yeah, that know-how we acquire from the partners we license therapies from to move faster. But we know that if you do it in the right way, it's also very safe, even compared to small molecules.
I have one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you said you have revenue. Can you tell us more about where is this revenue coming from and how much is it?
Well, for now it's under $100,000, but it came from VGF plasmid sales. So we expect it to increase when we start administering to like biohackers, and we have a few promotions planned in July/August with Adele Han. So that's our best bet for now for increasing revenue. Because AAV therapies, we also want to bring them to market this year, but right now we are considering doing additional safety checks on animals just to be extra sure that we don't harm anybody and we pick the right dose. So we'll potentially start with lower doses there, not to be too risky and so on. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hard to predict with the revenue. So that's why we need the money to accelerate the whole process.
And
because
if you
we are. Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind me asking, how are you funding yourself now? And
Yeah, we raised 400,000 from angels and from one venture capital fund from Prospera.
okay, and you're raising another 2 million now.
Yeah.
At what valuation?
At 15 million.
Okay.
Okay, Alexander, you have a question, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Vladimir. Do you target the gene therapies to specific cell types? Because I imagine, for example, vascular endothelial growth factor, it might potentially have negative effects if you get more blood vessel growth in the retina or in early stage cancers. Do you target it to any specific tissues or cell types?
Yeah, that's correct. But the plasmid we use, it has a local effect, and it cannot go via bloodstream to your retina because it gets chopped in the bloodstream very rapidly by nucleases. So we are very sure of the safety there. And of course, with the AVs, it's a bit more random, but still even follistatin, from what we see in the studies, when you inject it in the muscle, it like mostly acts in the muscle. So to get the systemic effect, you need an ultra high dose, or you need to deliver it to the liver via bloodstream. So yeah, there is also some work to be done with administration methods as well to pick the right one to affect, say, the muscle, but not the heart. So yeah, that's one of the tricks with gene therapies.
So sorry, just follow-up question. So isn't there a risk that, let's say, when you have the AAV follistatin gene therapy, you inject it, I imagine, let's say, in an arm or something, wouldn't that arm get more hypertrophy than other parts of the body, which could potentially lead to not just aesthetic problems, but functional issues?
It could very well be. Yeah. So it depends on the dose. It depends on the health of the person. For example, if your muscles are severely fibrosed, so you have some sort of muscular dystrophy, then the risks significantly increase. But we didn't see, according to our partners who work with those therapies already, we didn't see that kind of results in healthy humans so far. But we did observe them in patients with muscular dystrophy. Not we, but people before us. So yeah, that has to be also checked in animals, just to be sure.
And that would be some of the R&D work that you're looking to conduct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Carl, you're next.
Hi, Vladimir. Regarding the two other application for muscles, does it affect the skin too, like elasticity of the skin? And for hair, does it prevent from graying or maintaining its your natural color or something? Does it? Have you monitored those two areas?
Yeah, we've thought about this. Yeah, it's can of course be connected with skin blood supply as well, and with grain of hair, because they do depend somewhat on blood supply, but not only on blood supply. So to actually meaningfully say anything, we need to get more data from the patient. So there is a connection, but I don't know if this therapy will be able to help there.
Okay, thank you.
Vladimir, another question on my side, maybe the last one before we switch to Superhlth. Who are the people who accept to be treated with your therapies at this stage, which is pretty experimental as far as I understand?
Sir, what was the question? Like, who
Yes,
are
I
the
repeat.
people?
Yes, what kind of profiles do the people have? Are they like aged people who are like they're like they have some diseases that prevent them from living, and they accept to take a big risk and have those treatments? Are there? I mean, you talked about Brian Johnson. I really wonder about the risk profile again,
Yeah.
and what kind of people accept that kind of risk at this point.
So what we aim to do is like part of our trials for the X prize specifically is people aged, I think, roughly 50 to 70. So it's when you already experience severe consequences of aging, but at the same time you did not acquire any hardcore damage like Alzheimer's. So we don't want to work with patients with already severe progressed diseases, because it's just way too complicated, risky, and so on. And people like Brian Johnson, who are already in really good shape due to other interventions. Of course, it would be great to see how the therapies affect him, but of course, we would see a larger effect on the people who don't exercise as much and so on. So I think we mostly aim say of for on parents of say our parents. This is the best category for us, roughly. So we already
Interesting.
rolled a few of them. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, thank you very much, Vladimir. We have to wrap up with your startup and pitch and get to our next startup. Again, all the information is going to be shared, so investors will be able to reach out to you directly.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, I see you have taken the initiative to share your screen, Brent. That's great. The floor is yours. You have 10 minutes. We
Thank
are
you.
all ears.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, so I'm Brent Luyckx. I'm the founder and the CEO of Superhlth and also of For Gold. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the company and about my personal history as well. Yeah, health is your superpower. I think we all believe that health is our most important asset, but currently, the current system is kind of failing. There have never been so much chronic diseases, so much mental health problems, so much people developing cancer, or so much people with obesity. But the current, healthcare system, it's reactive. They only react after certain symptoms arise. And the science is decades behind. So if you're going to look into longevity and the choices that you're making today and which impact they have onto tomorrow or even at the next 10 years or next decades, they're kind of big. And if we're going to see into the data, then 50% of chronic diseases could be prevented, but only if we early detect them and if we can make people aware of lifestyle interventions and what they need to change into their lifestyle. So my personal story, I have history as a professional cyclist, but unfortunately I had to stop because of IBD. And I've been misdiagnosed for almost 3 years. And I've been sent home with antibiotics multiple times. Even one doctor said that it was all in my head. And then after 3 years, I had a life or death surgery. So they removed 18 centimeters of my small intestine, 8 centimeters of my big intestine, my appendix, and my IBD, Crohn's disease. It went out of my intestines into my hip, and I had an abscess of 4 on 7 centimeters. So it was really a life or death surgery at that moment. But if I look back, never once was I tested onto my microbiome or my microbiome diversity, parasites, SIBO. Never once was I asked to track my nutrition, but nutrition it has the biggest impact onto onto gut health. Or in terms of medical history, there is a big link between Lyme disease and Crohn's, and nobody talked about it. Also, I have certain gene mutations that impact gut health a lot, but all those health data, no doctor looked into it, and it was kind of frustrating for me. And after a certain period of time, I really wanted to build something I wish I had when I was when I was sick or when I was younger. Superhlth is not like a startup because of the fact that it builds further on my previous startup. So with For Gold, we're now almost 10 years on the market. We're a personalized nutrition company, but the backbone or technology, that's what's going to get further onto Superhlth, and that's why we're building on at the moment. But it's not something from scratch. We already had our own DNA interpretation algorithms in 2018. We have a significant database at the moment, and then we speak about thousands and thousands of people where we have DNA data, wearable data, blood data, questionnaires. We have validated our algorithms or interpretation algorithms in 2023 with our own prediction AI algorithms because of the interesting data sets we have. Last year, we developed our own microbiome test and our own direct-to-consumer blood test. also that can be or that can go live when we launch Superhlth in September. So currently we're pre-revenue, but we're making, or there is still a data in stream from for Gold. But we're planning to launch like our new app and all the like Superhealth environment in September. So what will Superhealth be? It will be like one ecosystem for all your health data, which all health data, I mean, like, yeah, your DNA, your blood tests. Blood tests can be like inputted. If you're going to a doctor, you can just put it in the PDF. You can take a picture and we scrape it. But also, like, yeah, all wearables. If you have a wearable, normally we can link them microbiome tests, cortisol tests, CGMs, medical history, lifestyle, sport questionnaires. So yeah, if you have any health data, you should get into the platform. Also, nutrition scanning or like yeah, different apps that we can link because of the fact that we want to integrate all health data and build a digital twin and a PHLM. So yeah, towards a digital twin, so all the health data markers need to come together. So we need to collect them first, and then with data fusion, we can get insights in a health dashboard. So a centralized data vault where you can get insights into certain scores, certain subscores, and you can have a really interesting data breakdown into your gut health, for example, and then go into your microbiome balance or your digestion score. And then you can go into like, yeah, your DNA score, your nutrition score, your blood score, and you can have like all the individual biomarkers as well. And then we have like a next step over here in terms of actionables. Okay, what can you do today, this week, this month with your goals and with your data to improve your health. We have also access for health practitioners that they can get like, yeah, easy access to the data, but also to the PHLM. So we have built a personal health AI agent, personal health language model. It's not that we can, or that we just give all the data to a language model. We have like built an agentic approach to make this possible. And like the PHLM, it's, yeah, we have tested it like for the previous months with different yeah, test persons, because our MVP is live already. And like, yeah, all the people are really enthusiastic because you're not getting like a one size fits all answer towards any health related question, but you really get a personalized answer on all available health data. We really believe in PHLMs because we, yeah, believe that they will get better and better. And like they will get better as certain human doctors to answer certain health related questions. So our first stage revenue streams on how we see it, we want to have a freemium version and a premium version of the app. You can compare it a bit with Strava, that you're going to pay like, yeah, for more premium versions there with training, here more with, okay, how can you do more to improve your health? Then we have our own testing. So we have our own DNA test, blood test, microbiome test. In Belgium, we will start up with different centers as well, where you can go to like do a venous blood test, where we can go or capture more biomarkers. And then in a third stage, we have all the personalized actionables. With all the data, we can give you advice into certain supplement forms, skincare, hair care, personalized grocery lists, peptides. You can do a lot because of the fact that you have all health-related data, and you can give really interesting advice over there. So in terms of roadmap, as I said, we already have our MVP. At the moment, we're planning to launch in September. We have a direct consumer focus here in Europe, but we're also talking with a partner in the US to license the software and to launch like a bit of the same in the United States. And then we want to expand our data sets as soon as possible, because we believe that if we can expand our data sets kind of fast, that we can improve our algorithms, neural networks, and our PHLM as well. And then we want to do a Series A round in 2027. For the theme, we're currently building with 4 people full-time on Superhlth. It's not that much, but it's kind of interesting to know that Nicolas is our chief science officer. He also can write code, and Robin is our head developer, CTO. But he has a background in biology, so it's a really interesting match between both because of the fact that there is no project management between the dev side and the science side. In terms of scientific board, so we're kind of small team, but we have a high class scientific board with really interesting people. For example, if we want to do something with AI, we can talk with Jurgen van Gaal. He worked at Google, Microsoft, Facebook with everything around neural networks, machine learning, and he's currently also the CTO of Stripe. But we can also talk with Steven Lattre, was the VP of AI at IMEC. But if we want to do something around the microbiome, we can do it with Thomas. He also helped us to set up our own microbiome test. So we really have specific expertise. If we want to go really deep in a specific topic, we can use our own science board. And then our current investors, so Superhlth builds further on For Gold. And there we have we've done partial demergers, so we have the exact same cap table as in For Gold. With For Gold we have raised almost 3 million to date, and therefore we already have certain investors, and Mathieu van der Poel is one of them. So he's a quite well-known cyclist. Beside Mathieu, we have Bart Klaas, who's all the AI prediction, cash flow startup, and the Custer family. So we're currently doing a seed round of 1 million, where the funds will be mainly used towards research and development and marketing and sales, because of the fact that in terms of marketing and sales, we want to get people to know that what we're doing, make them aware of Superhlth. And beside that, in terms of research and development, that we want to improve the algorithms, the PHLM quite fast if we have the right data. So that was the presentation of Superhlth. Thank you for your time. If there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Very interesting. First question, how does For Gold, what is For Gold, and how does For Gold help you in kickstarting your new venture?
Yeah, so I started For Gold in 2017. And For Gold was a bit like the startup, because I have the history as professional cyclist, and during my career I've experienced that I couldn't function on the one size fits all. And there we went to look, okay, what can we do to help athletes to make better decisions towards training, towards nutrition, towards supplements. So that's For Gold, where we have our own, or where we have our own DNA tests, and where we already link DNA data with wearable data, with blood data, with different questionnaires, and then we can give you advice in certain supplements. We have also our own personalized supplements, where we personalize monthly supplements based on all data, but we're mainly focused on top athletes over there. We're working with different top level football players, football teams, cycling teams, hockey teams, but we feel since 12 to 18 months that more and more people are finding us via word of mouth, and that they're interested in health and in longevity, but there is a mismatch in branding with For Gold. And the brand is really sports and everything around that, and that's one of the reasons why we're setting Superhlth apart, and we're just building a brand around health now.
Thank you, Brent. I understand. So Alexander, you had a question.
Yes, thank you, Brent. Could I just ask, what's your differentiator when you compare yourself to the other recently launched startup, Superpower? because they seem to offer a lot of the same services that you offer.
Yeah, that's true. I think what differentiates us is they currently are using like different tests from different parties on the market. They don't have like, for example, their own DNA test or their own blood test. They're just working together with different parties. But we believe that to develop like really good data fusion algorithms and to make the PHLM, that you really need to have like the knowledge on board. And like we have experience like almost 10 years now in all the algorithms, all the pathways to link the data from the microbiome to the DNA to the blood. So I think we have a advantage in terms of like for how long that we're doing it and in terms of scientific knowledge at the moment. But we also feel that like it's going incredibly fast at the moment, and they will look at Europe at a certain point, but we want to go fast in Europe. Our focus is in Europe, and their focus, I think, for the next 12 to 18 months will be in the States.
Right. And just one follow-up question. Do you plan at any point to have your own in-house concierge clinician team, which seems to be a service that they offer, which I didn't see in your presentation?
Yeah, that's true. It's a legal point in like Belgium. It's everything around medical device and the fact that it impacts the AI Pact as well, but like it's regulation. And we want to start as a longevity health prevention app, and not from the beginning as a medical device. It's something we want to do like in the second stage. Is also we're developing our prediction algorithms towards like, let's say, diabetes or IBD. Like we're working on them, but it's not something we will launch at the moment. It's something we want to do in a later stage, and also the link with like the doctors with the a bit more the concierge that they're doing now. We want to do it in the next stage, and it's mainly about legal issues.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Alexei Belikov, you had a question. You lowered your hand. I don't know if it's still.
I have
Yes,
the
please
question,
go
but
ahead.
basically Alexander already asked almost the same question. So my question was, there are indeed many companies which do very similar things. So that I wanted to ask what differentiates you from not the specific company which Alexander asked, but I know plenty, like maybe in silico medicine and others, where you can download your analysis results and they give you predictions about the health. I think there are multiple companies like that. So what's unique about your startup?
Yeah, that's sure. And if you look into, for example, Lucid here in Europe, they're like launched in Paris, but it's only focused on blood testing and blood tests. And like, it's only one part of the puzzle. And that's a bit like you keep looking into silos. But what we want to do is really like build one health aggregator, health OS, where you can put in all your health data. And that's like, the main differentiator, beside the fact that we have like a working PHLM at the moment, which is also, something which most of the companies don't have at the moment.
Maybe a question about the privacy. So I think this is a sensitive data. So you want users to upload all their blood tests and so on. So how are you going to protect their privacy?
Yeah, it's a bit what we are already doing for a few years now. You can compare it to like, for example, Whoop. Like we have an encryption wall, so we can like access your data. Like everything like works around the encryption wall, and you have like the encryption key to get access to your data. And we can get like, or we can ask permission to look into the data as well. But it's not that we can get access to your data, for example. It's all encrypted.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If nobody has another question for now, I may have one. what's your go-to-market strategy? How do you find, you're a consumer app, right? So you need to find many users. How do you go about this?
Yeah, it's also a bit of an advantage that we already have thousands of users that can go, that will go onto the Superhealth app from the For Gold app. And beside that, we also have like, yeah, a few ambassadors, influencers that we already work with For Gold, and that we can like, yeah, get the partnership towards Superhealth as well. So that's like an advantage for us in terms of visibility and awareness. And beside it, we're looking into like, yeah, different partnerships that people know what Superhealth is. And we have like the free version of the app that we want to get like, yeah, on as much mobiles as possible. And then we want to go, or we want to look into, okay, how can we convert them towards the premium version, or how can we go into like, yeah, sell them certain tests or something like that.
What do you offer in the free version versus the premium version?
It's something we're testing now, like in the upcoming, yeah, 2-3 months, because of the fact that we can, yeah, play a bit with it, and we want to see where we can have like, yeah, the most value in the free version, but also where you can have like the, yeah, spinning point, where people want to pay to get access. For example, you'll have a bit the same as on ChatGPT, that you have only a certain calls on the PHLM in the free version. If you want to have more daily calls, you need to have the premium version, something like that. And also like, yeah, certain scores will be blurred or only available in the premium version. But yeah, it's something where, yeah, we want to test, and we want to have some feedback from users.
Okay. You said you have your own tests, own DNA tests, own blood tests. How is this reserved for people from Belgium, or how do other customers from different parts of the world are going to get the data and then send it to you in practical terms?
Yeah, for us, like it doesn't matter. We have written like the algorithms so that you can import 23andMe file, and MyHeritage file, or like in other DNA tests as well. So for us, yeah, you can use, if you already have DNA data, you can use it. For blood data as well, like you can just like go to your local hospital to get a blood test done. But we also have like our own device, or we have our own DNA kit that we can ship to you, that you can ship back, that would do the analysis for you. So like, yeah, it works a bit on both ends. You can go like on the classic system, just a normal blood test at your doctor, or you can do a blood test via Superhealth, or DNA test, or a microbiome test.
Okay. Interesting. Yes, Alexander.
One follow-up question related to that, because I thought you mentioned a few minutes ago that one of the strengths of your startup is that you have these in-house tests, and that you can optimize your PHLM to work with that data very well and integrate it with other data sets. If customers use external third-party tests, doesn't that kind of take away your advantage?
No, not really. For us, like, yeah, in terms of the algorithms and the data fusion, it doesn't matter from where the data comes. Yeah, if you look into genotyping and like, yeah, the results coming from another array, it can sometimes impact the result because you don't have like all the same SNPs, you don't have like the same summary. But for a blood test, like if it's coming from us or if it's coming from another lab, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. For the blood tests, I agree, because it's just a value.
Yeah.
But for some of the more complicated tests, I imagine that it would have an impact.
Yeah, like it can have like a small impact that we can like, yeah, that we don't have certain SNPs for the DNA test, but we can like do most of the like, yeah, the interpretation and everything will work with, for example, 23andMe data. there's no difference in terms of like training neural network on 23andMe data or on our data. But the fact that we have all data combined, that's like the strength of what we have and all the data fusion algorithms that we currently have.
Okay.
If I understand your strategy is to be very strong in Europe, and then eventually when US companies will start looking at Europe, you could be potentially acquired. Is that the strategy you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. What's the valuation? So you're raising $1 million, you said. Can you summarize and what valuation you have decided it have?
We're looking at a 5 million valuation for the 1 million round. So yeah, that's it.
And sorry, one final question. How many customers did you say that you had previously for Gold?
Yeah, in Gold, in total, we have 40,000 customers over there, but there are like not all the customers have done the DNA test, but like 10% of the customers did. So yeah, we already have like a significant database of people that did the DNA test.
Okay, thank you.
Carl wants to ask a question.
Hi, Brett. I wanted to follow up to Gabriel's question. When you're looking for an exit in the US, what's your horizon timeline, and also who are a few of your potential target that you think that would acquire you?
Yeah, in terms of timing, I think it's not a super long game, but I think we speak about I think it can go quite fast in the upcoming years. And it's always difficult to like speak out the horizon, but I think in 36 months there can change a lot. And in terms of potential exits, then we're indeed looking into the superpowers or the function health. I think the bigger parties in the US, because of the fact that like everything starts with a bit of the basic first rounds that like they're just way bigger in the States, and we can do them in Belgium because of the fact that our home market is way too small. But if we can grow in Europe, I truly think that we can be like an interesting exit or an interesting party for them.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm in the US in the venture capital space, and typically, exit strategy for growing companies usually, 3 to 5 years. And if you can grow that in Europe very strongly, your user base, and if there is a much bigger, company in the United States, and then it's a good partnership or a good acquisition, then it could happen within, depends on your growth, but within that 3 to 5 year range.
Yeah.
It's usually the exit. If you hit 8 years, then usually that's like an IPO kind of thing, or maybe a very late stage acquisition.
Yeah, agree.
But thank you for the presentation, Brent.
You're welcome.
We have time for one last quick question, or eventually wrap up right away. Okay, so I guess this is it. Thank you again, Brent. A very interesting presentation. Thank you, Vladimir. You're still here. Two startups from the opposite spectrums of longevity. One of them very practical with Brent, and the other one very audacious and moonshot like from Vladimir. Yes, thank you very much again, everyone. See you in a couple of weeks with two new startups. And again, you'll automatically receive the presentations, the contact information from Brent and Vladimir. And keep me updated if there's anything happening in terms of investment. We will be more than happy to find out that this initiative is successful. Bye-bye, everyone, again.
Yeah, thank you,
See you next
Gabriel.
time.
Bye.
Yeah.